How you doing? Welcome again to another installment of Objectively Biased with me, your host, the objective one, Steve Fogwick. And today we're going to discuss the AFC and NFC South. I recently did the AFC and NFC East, and we're going to stay true with the predictions here. So, without further ado, let's get this going. Alright, first division up, AFC South. And in the AFC South, I've got the Tennessee Titans finishing last. They're probably going to be somewhere along the lines of 3-13, 5-11, more than likely their ceiling. So why the Titans last? Well, they made great strides on the offensive side of the ball, getting Jack Conklin, rookie, to offensive tackle to help protect Marcus Mariota. Huge. Also, offensive weapons that they added. DeMarco Murray and Rashard Matthews to go along with Delaney Walker and Kendall Wright, Justin Hunter, Green Beckham. So they're going to have a very good offense. Going to see some improvements there. Problem is, defensively, they did nothing. This is a team that's defensive efficiency rating has been trash. They've been 29th and 30th overall in the last two seasons. Did nothing to improve, so I don't see any drastic improvements there either. Alright, next up we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. And while Jacksonville did a lot of addressing on the defensive side of the ball, which was a huge need for them. Again, this is a team whose defensive efficiency was 27th last year. The offense is going to drive this team. And Blake Bortles, more importantly. They added Chris Ivory to the running game, which is huge to help out Yeldon and balance that game out. Healthy Julius Thomas is going to give another big target for Blake Bortles to hit, but he is going to have to improve. His passer rating was 23rd last year in the NFL. His QBR was 29th. Now, while we saw him throw for 35 touchdowns, he also threw 18 picks, which was top 3 in the NFL last year. This guy is going to have to step up. I like the improvements he's made. I like what Gus Brantley has done with this team. But at the end of the day, Jacksonville is not quite there yet. Can they win the division? It's possible. Anything is possible. But the reality is 8-8, 7-9, more than likely that's going to be the record the Jaguars finish with this year. Now, the Houston Texans are going to be the team that I picked to finish second. This is going to be a team that, quite frankly, 9-7 is realistic for them. Can they win the division? Is going to depend on one player and one player only, Brock Osweiler. This is a team that has won the division, has been competitive with subpar quarterback play the last 3 seasons. Brock Osweiler was brought into Denver by John Elway to be the heir apparent to Peyton Manning. So that went awry. He finds himself in Houston, and Houston is going to be where he makes his mark. He's either going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, or he's going to be a complete and utter bust. This team is going to ride or die with his performance. He's got the number 4 ranked defense in the NFL from an efficiency standpoint. He's got Lamar Miller, who I think is going to be a stud this year at the running back position, to go along with DeAndre Hopkins, rookie Will Fuller. This team is going to be loaded and ready. Brock, you're being handed the keys to the Corvette. Don't fucking scratch it. Okay, now we go to the division winner, in my opinion, and that's going to be the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I know there's a lot of people going, well, wow, they really stunk it up last year. Well, I think you guys are remembering the Indianapolis Colts wrong last season. Yes, based on what we expected from them, they sucked. But this is a team that won the division the year before. There haven't been any dramatic changes. And if you looked at this team last season, they still finished in second place. They still have a defense that's in the top 10 in efficiency. And they did this without Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was hurt and then gone. Again, they still finished in second in the division. They still averaged 20 points per game without Andrew Luck. The only team that scored more points than them per game last season in their division, Jacksonville. The only team that allowed less points per game on the defensive side of the ball in their division than them, Houston. So now you're getting a healthy Andrew Luck back, who 2 years ago threw for 40 touchdowns and 9 picks. And now he's healthy? I don't know what anybody is thinking or how anybody could possibly believe that the Indianapolis Colts fell off the wagon that quick. Injuries derailed them. This is pretty much the same team that we saw in 2014, and I pretty much have the same expectations so long as Andrew Luck stays healthy. Colts win the division and go to the playoffs. All right, now on to the NFC South. And I think there's going to be some feathers ruffled here. The Atlanta Falcons. They're going to finish last in this division. I expect them to be no worse than 4-12, no better than 6-10. And I know there's people going out, well, how can that be? They started out 6-0 last season. Struggled on the offensive side of the ball, but they addressed those issues last season. Here's a problem. Defense, still bad, not good. Okay? Didn't address anything in the draft. As a matter of fact, I had Falcons with, considering the fact that they only had 6 draft picks, they didn't maximize their potential with their draft picks. Off-season moves, nothing spectacular. Yes, they got Alex Mack to help out on the offensive line, but I still don't see any dramatic improvements there. They're a team that we still don't know who's going to be the starting running back, even though Devonta Freeman had a wonderful season last season. They're still trying to push Tevin Coleman in there. So there's that aspect. Julio Jones is going to be Julio Jones, but Matt Ryan is also going to be Matt Ryan. What do I mean by that? I mean mediocre. Matt Ryan, the last 3 seasons, has been in the top 5 in pass attempts. I don't expect that to change this season either, because there is no definitive ground game to be established. And we saw that when they went 2-8 last season, at the end of the season. So Matt Ryan is going to be, again, top 5 in pass attempts. Last 3 seasons, he's in the top 10 in interceptions. Guess what? Matt Ryan is going to be in the top 10 in interceptions again. Let's face it, this is who this guy is. 23 touchdowns, 16, 17 picks. Falcons, last place in the division. Sorry, feathers ruffled. All right, now we go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a team that their ceiling, in my opinion, is 8-8. Floor is probably 5-11, 6-10. I'm going to roll with them being 6-10 and finishing third in that division. Now, Jameis Winston had a good season. Pretty good rookie season. I think 22 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Expect him to improve, but it's not going to be dramatic. Dirk Cutter, taking over as the coach for Lovie Smith, had a very good offense last season, especially on the ground. They were the 4th ranked team in the offense as far as rushing yards per game. Hopefully they continue that, because that's going to help Jameis Winston grow into a much better quarterback. They do that with Sims and Martin at the running back position. We can realistically see an 8-8 team there with Tampa Bay, but everything is going to be based on how they maintain offensively. Again, the drawback on them, defense. There was great expectations for this defense last year, and it failed. Partly due to injury, but they were still very good on the ground as far as a run defense. They were shitty defending the pass last season, and I don't see that getting any better. And in a division where passing is prominent, and in an NFL where passing is the new age, sorry, the Bucs are going to get burnt, and there's going to be no playoffs there for them. All right, next up is the New Orleans Saints. And the New Orleans Saints, I've got them finishing 8-8. I think that's a good number for them, considering they were 7-9 last season. 7-9 with the worst defense in the NFL. There's nowhere to go but up at this point defensively. And offensively, listen, Brandon Cooks got hurt. He comes back They add Kobe Fleener, so they got a good tight end target now for Drew Brees to hit. Oh yeah, they have Drew Brees, top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Nah, the Saints aren't going to finish last this year. They'll make it interesting. They're not going to set the league on fire, and they're not making the playoffs, but they will finish second in this division. All right, now on to the Carolina Panthers. Yes, they're going to win the division. 12-4, 11-5 is realistic. No one's going to beat them, not in that division. So my key question is going to be this. What's the running game going to look like? They get Calvin Benjamin back. This was the number 1 scoring offense in the league last season, and Cam Newton was doing it without his number 1 receiver. You got Greg Olsen back. Yeah, the defense took a hit losing Josh Norman, but again, I think cornerbacks are overrated. If you got a solid front 7 and good safety play in this day and age of a pass-driven NFL, you're going to be fine. So the question is going to be Jonathan Stewart, his health. Again, this guy played his first complete season since John Fox was coaching the Carolina Panthers. That's a long time ago. So Cameron Artis-Payne, Fozzie Whitaker, those are 2 guys that I'm going to be looking at to see if any of them are going to be able to step in when Jonathan Stewart steps out. Carolina wins the division. We'll see where it goes from there. It's all going to depend on that running game. All right, now on to my objective thought. My objective thought today is more like a reach out. A reach out to a 47-year-old fighter by the name of Roy Jones Jr., who just recently won his 65th fight, improving his record to 65-9. He recently won his 65th fight against a guy, 51 years old by the way, named Rodney Moore. A guy who at the weigh-in could not see his toes because his stomach was sticking out that far. Look, I love Roy Jones. But at some point in time, your quest to achieve Parkinson's disease at this point is becoming ridiculous. You've been knocked out more times than I'd care to remember. And the last good fight you had, well, that was against John Ruiz when you were a heavyweight. It's time to hang it up. You're going to get hurt. You're just not as fast as you were. Shit, you're not who you were before. Roy, please, stop chasing the ghost that once was and be content with what is. That's all I have. Thank you for watching Objectively Biased. Again, subscribe to the YouTube channel Stephen Fogmeg. Follow me on Instagram at @s_Fogmeg and on Twitter at @sfogmeg. Thank you and enjoy.